I never thought love would become this hollow echo of what it once was. Natalie and I met in college. She was loud, unpredictable, magnetic. She drew people in like a storm. I was the quiet type, always watching, calculating, admiring her from the edge of every party she lit on fire. And somehow, she chose me. We married young. Our wedding was wild, beautiful, messy in the best ways, just like her. We spent nights tangled in sheets, mornings sipping coffee from the same mug, afternoons building a life full of whispered promises and spontaneous kisses in grocery store aisles. But something changed after our 7th anniversary. Something subtle. At first, it started with silence replacing laughter. Late nights at work. Text messages she hid when I entered the room. Distance I couldn't bridge, no matter how hard I tried. And then came tonight. She stood by our bedroom window, her figure silhouetted by the moonlight. She wore her favorite black dress, the one she used to save for romantic dinners with me. The one I bought her in Italy. "I'm going to spend the night with another man," she said, her voice steady. Almost mechanical. My chest tightened. "What the hell are you talking about?" Natalie turned, tilting her head like she was asking me if I heard her right the first time. "You can sleep with someone else too, if you want. I'm not stopping you." I stared at her. "Is this a joke?" She shook her head. No hesitation. No guilt. I tried to read her, tried to find the woman I married behind those cold eyes, but she was already gone. Gone somewhere my love couldn't follow. Why? I want to feel something again. I laughed bitterly, heart crumbling in my chest. "So that's your solution? Cheating?" She frowned. "It's not cheating if we're both allowed." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This wasn't marriage. This wasn't love. This was permission to destroy everything we'd built, one body at a time. "You think sleeping with a stranger is going to fix us?" "No," she said. "I think it might fix me." She grabbed her clutch, spritzed perfume over her neck, and walked to the door like she wasn't leaving me behind in pieces. "Natalie." She paused, her back still turned. "If you want revenge or relief, I don't care. Just don't ask me to stop." And then she was gone. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty space she left behind, the air still filled with the scent of betrayal and rosewater. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat. After an hour, I opened a bottle of bourbon and called Ethan. He answered on the second ring. "Hey. What's going on?" "She's with someone else." A pause. "Shit. She told me. Gave me permission. Told me I could do it too. Like it was a gift." Ethan exhaled. "You okay?" "No. I think I want to be numb." He hesitated, then said, "You want distraction or advice?" "Distraction." "All right," he said. "I know someone." I raised an eyebrow, even though he couldn't see me. "What the hell does that mean?" "She's kind. Beautiful. She doesn't ask questions. You just show up." I hesitated. "You're serious?" "Only if you are." He sent a message before I could talk myself out of it. Name. Address. Instructions. Siena. I drove across town, unsure whether I was about to find clarity or chaos. My hands trembled on the wheel. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe both. The apartment was in a quiet building nestled between tall oak trees and the distant hum of city lights. I walked up 3 flights of stairs before stopping at the door. I almost turned around. Then I knocked. She opened it slowly, her eyes meeting mine with an unreadable calm. She wore a wine-red robe, barely tied, and her hair was swept over one shoulder like a painting come to life. "You're the husband," she said. I nodded. She stepped aside. "Come in." The air smelled like jasmine and melted candles. Jazz played low in the background. Every part of the space felt deliberate, designed to melt tension, erase hesitation. "I don't need to know anything," she said, locking the door softly behind me. "Just tell me this, is this what you want?" "I don't know what I want," I whispered. "But I don't want to feel like I'm the only one trying anymore." She moved closer, brushing her fingers along my jaw. Then don't try. Just be. We didn't kiss right away. We talked. About nothing. About everything. She asked me what my favorite childhood memory was. I said it was the time I danced barefoot in the rain with Natalie, soaked to the bone, laughing until our cheeks ached. Her eyes softened. You loved her. I still do. She leaned in and kissed me, slow, almost reverent, like she was trying to thank me for being honest. Then she kissed me again, deeper, hungrier. The robe slipped. We fell into one another like we'd known each other in another life, like two broken halves trying to feel whole for just one night. The guilt was there, lingering. But the desire? It burned hotter. Sienna was different. Gentle, yet fierce. Mysterious, yet familiar. She didn't ask for explanations. She didn't offer judgment. She simply gave herself to the moment, and in doing so, gave me back pieces of myself I didn't know I'd lost. Later, tangled in sheets and silence, she traced a finger along my chest. You're not wrong, she whispered. You're just hurting. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in months, I slept. Morning crept in quietly, slipping between half-closed blinds, spilling light over bodies once strangers. Sienna lay beside me, her dark hair fanned across the pillow like a raven's wing. I watched her chest rise and fall, peaceful, undisturbed. She hadn't asked for my pain, yet she held it like it belonged. I got dressed silently, careful not to wake her. There was no need for drawn-out goodbyes. No promises. No strings. Just the sharp sting of morning after clarity gripping my ribs like frostbite. The moment I stepped outside, the weight returned. The real world was waiting, claws out, ready to remind me that what happened inside that apartment didn't stay locked behind her door. I had crossed a line. One Natalie had drawn with her lipstick-red lips and unapologetic smirk. But the worst part? I didn't regret it. My phone buzzed. Natalie. Hope you enjoyed your night too, the message read. No hello. No guilt. Just smug indifference wrapped in text. I didn't reply. What could I even say? That I did what she asked? That I matched her cruelty with my own? Instead, I drove. Windows down. Wind howling through the car like an echo of my conscience. When I walked into the house, she was already there. Lounging on the couch in a silk robe, sipping coffee like it was any other Sunday. You're back early, she said without looking up. So are you, I replied. She smiled faintly. He had an early meeting. I dropped my keys on the counter harder than I intended. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me details. She stood, mug in hand. Then don't ask. I didn't. Good, she said. Then let's move on. Move on? Like this didn't just rip the fabric of our marriage apart? What the hell happened to us, Natalie? She looked me dead in the eyes, like she was challenging me to say what she wouldn't. I got bored. That's simple. 3 words. I got bored. I felt my hands curl into fists, not out of rage, but out of devastation. 7 years, and that's all it came down to? She walked past me, close enough for her perfume to whisper apologies her mouth wouldn't form. You wanted honesty, she said. Now you have it. I didn't stop her. I couldn't. Because a part of me finally understood something terrible. Maybe we weren't ever in love. Maybe we were just addicted to the idea of being in love. The next few days passed in fragments. Natalie returned to her life like nothing had changed. She still made her smoothie every morning. Still left dishes half done in the sink. Still kissed my cheek before going out, like she hadn't kissed someone else just nights ago. I was the one unraveling. Ethan checked in. You alright? No, I told him. He didn't ask questions. He just said, You want to see her again? Sienna? Yeah. My silence was his answer. That night, I drove back to her. No hesitation. No guilt. She opened the door wearing nothing but a white shirt, loose and draping over one shoulder. She smiled when she saw me, like she already knew I'd return. I didn't expect you so soon, she said. I didn't expect to come back, I admitted. She stepped aside. But you did. This time, I wasn't searching for escape, I was searching for understanding. We talked first. 4 hours. About everything. About Natalie. About loss. About feeling invisible inside something we once thought was forever. You don't love her anymore, Sienna said quietly. I sighed. I don't know what I feel. She walked to me, slid her hands under my shirt, placed her palm over my chest. You feel this. She kissed me. Gentle, slow. No rush. We made love that night, not just sex. It was different. Tender. Intentional. We explored each other like two people discovering language without word. Afterward, I lay awake, tracing her skin with my fingertip. Why do you do this? I asked. Do what? Let men in like this. Broken ones. She laughed softly. Because I'm broken too. I stared at the ceiling, letting that truth settle between us like smoke. I wanted to ask what had shattered her. Who? But I didn't. We all carried damage. Some wore it proudly. Others, like Sienna, wore it like lace. When I returned home the next morning, Natalie was on the phone, laughing. She turned when I entered. Hey, she said too casually. You've been out a lot lately. So have you. She didn't flinch. Guess we're even now. Even? Like this was a game? A scoreboard? Was that the point? To level the field with bodies, with moans behind unfamiliar doors? I didn't answer. We slept in the same bed that night, back to back, like strangers sharing a hotel room after a cancelled flight. The distance between us was inches, but it felt like miles. Somewhere around 2 a.m., I heard her whisper, "Do you still love me?" I didn't respond. Because I didn't know if I was supposed to lie, or if the truth would destroy whatever pieces remained. She never asked again. I stopped pretending. Pretending that Natalie and I were healing. Pretending that whatever this arrangement was hadn't infected everything sacred between us. Love turned into negotiation. Lust became our weapon of choice. We carved out emotional space for strangers while watching our own foundation rot beneath us. She still played house. Still folded my shirt. Still asked if I needed coffee before work. But she was never really here. Her body lived under my roof. Her soul lived in someone else's arms. Sienna was the only place I felt real anymore. She became my gravity, pulling me back whenever I started drifting toward the edge. With her, I didn't need to be anything but present. There was a storm the next night I visited. Rain slicked the streets, lightning stretched across the sky like veins of fire. I arrived soaked, heart thudding louder than thunder. She opened the door, pulled me inside, and kissed me before a single word passed between us. "Rough night?" she murmured against my mouth. "Always." She peeled off my shirt, fingertips sliding over my chest, brushing the raindrops away like they were sins. We didn't bother with rooms or rituals. We collapsed onto her living room rug, the storm outside matching the one building inside us. I devoured her, craved her, needed her, not because she was an escape, but because she reminded me of who I used to be before indifference became my daily meal. She arched against me, whispered my name like it was sacred. "I want to forget everything," I said, voice rough. "Then let me help you forget." And she did. Again and again. Afterward, breathless and tangled in limbs and sweat, she rested her head on my chest. "I've never had anyone return like you do," she whispered. "Why do you think I keep coming back?" She looked up. "Because your wife doesn't see you anymore." I didn't deny it. She wasn't wrong. The next morning, Natalie and I sat across from each other at the kitchen table, each reading our respective screens like strangers at a cafe. Without looking up, she said, "You've been happier." I lowered my coffee. "What? You smile when you come home now. That didn't happen before." I didn't know what to say. She closed her laptop, finally looking at me. "Is it her?" I nodded slowly. She didn't cry. Didn't flinch. She only blinked like she'd been expecting it. "Do you love her?" she asked, voice even. "I don't know," I replied honestly. She stood, walked to the sink, stared out the window as if it would give her answers I couldn't. I saw someone new last night, she said. Not the usual one. I swallowed hard. Do I even want to know? No, she said softly. You don't. There was something different in her this time. Not arrogance. Not manipulation. Just surrender. And maybe a hint of jealousy, though she'd never admit it. Later that week, I invited Sienna to dinner. Not for sex. Not for escape. Just dinner. She wore a navy blue dress that made my lungs forget how to function. Her laughter over wine filled the small Italian place like sunlight, warm and disarming. People stared. Not because of her beauty, but because of how alive she looked. We talked for hours. About movies we never finished. About music that made us feel more than we wanted. About the aching loneliness of loving someone who stopped loving you back. At one point, she asked, "What would you do if Natalie suddenly said she wanted to stop?" Stop what? This madness. The open arrangement. What if she wanted things to go back? I didn't hesitate. I don't think there's a way back. Sienna nodded slowly, sadness flickering in her eyes. And if she wanted you to choose? I reached across the table, took her hand. That's the thing. She doesn't care enough to make me. But I was wrong. Natalie cared more than I realized. I found out 2 days later. I came home to a quiet house. Her keys were gone. Her usual robe missing from the bathroom door hook. On the dining table, a single envelope with my name written in bold black ink. Inside, a letter. You win. I thought this would balance us, but instead, it made me realize something worse. I don't know you anymore. The man you used to be would have fought for me. The man you've become doesn't even look back when he leaves. I wanted to feel alive. I didn't expect you to feel alive without me. I'm going away for a while. Don't wait. Don't chase. I just need to remember who I am too. Natalie. I sat with that letter in my lap for hours. No anger. No relief. Just silence. She had pulled the rug out from under me so many times, I didn't realize this time I was the one left standing in the ruins. I called Sienna that night. Told her everything. Told her I didn't know what to do with this freedom I never asked for. She listened quietly. Then she said, "Maybe it's not about what you do next. Maybe it's about who you want to be now." I looked at myself in the mirror after that call. I didn't recognize the man staring back. I saw pieces of a husband, fragments of a lover, and a hollow space where conviction used to live. Natalie was gone. Sienna was waiting. And I was stuck between the comfort of passion and the shadow of promises I no longer knew how to keep. I didn't hear from Natalie for weeks. Not a message. Not a clue. Only silence. It echoed through the house like her ghost still lived there. Her perfume clung to the pillows. Her laugh haunted the bathroom mirror. Every creak of the hardwood floor felt like a memory stepping back in, demanding attention I no longer had the energy to give. I stopped checking the door. Stopped expecting. Instead, I drifted further into Sienna's world. She took me to hidden galleries, rooftop bars, beach towns where no one knew our names. We danced in places where the music wasn't loud, just intoxicating. She kissed me in alleys. She laughed into my neck like the world was finally soft again. With her, I wasn't a failed husband or a betrayed man. I was just me, tangled in moments I never thought I deserved. But late at night, when she'd fall asleep beside me, there was always a sliver of cold air crawling down my spine. Natalie. Even in her absence, she wasn't truly gone. One Sunday, as golden light broke across Sienna's loft, she turned to me and asked, "Is this real for you?" Her voice was steady, but I could hear the tremor behind it. I hesitated. Not because I didn't know, but because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. "It's real," I said. "Then let me be selfish," she whispered. "Let me ask for you." Her words struck deeper than she knew. Because in that instant I realized what I had feared all along. I hadn't fully let go of Natalie. I was standing in two places, one foot in the past, the other afraid to move forward. Sienna deserved more than half a heart. So I did what I had to. I kissed her gently. And I left. I drove for hours with no map, no destination, just thoughts screaming over the engine. Was I a monster? A coward? Or just a man trapped in a story with no good ending? When I finally returned home, the mailbox was stuffed with reminders of life's indifference. Bills, ads, a single postcard. My fingers froze. It was from Natalie. Sedona. The sky bleeds here in the evenings. Thought you'd like that. I still remember the way you looked at sunsets like they were secret. I don't know if I'm coming back. But I hope you found what you were looking for. And I stood at the kitchen sink, card in hand, heart unraveling. She was gone, but she still knew me in ways no one else did. Even in her distance, she whispered truths I hadn't admitted. I hadn't found anything. I had only escaped. 2 nights later, Sienna knocked on my door. Her eyes were fire. Her lips were pressed tight, determined not to tremble. You disappeared, she said. I didn't know how to stay without lying. And now? I stepped aside. She walked in, but didn't sit. I need to know, she said. Is this your new beginning or just your rebound? I couldn't lie. Not to her. Sienna, I don't know who I am without my past. And that scares me. She looked down. Then back at me softer. We're all haunted by someone. But if you can stand still and choose me, just once without hesitation, I'll help you build something real. She stepped closer. Close enough to smell her skin. Close enough for forgiveness to bloom. I won't wait forever, she added. And she left. That night, I walked into our old bedroom, Natalie's and mine. I opened her closet. Her favorite sweater was still there, the one she wore on rainy nights with messy buns and popcorn fingers. I held it to my face, breathed in every memory stitched into the cotton. And then I let it go. I placed it in a box with the rest. Not out of bitterness, but because I finally understood. You can love someone fiercely and still lose them. You can burn for someone and still walk away. You can betray each other and still feel the echo of their touch for years. But moving on isn't erasing. It's choosing what comes next, even with the ashes still warm beneath your feet. Weeks passed. No more calls from Natalie. No more texts from Sienna. Just silence. And strangely, it was peaceful. Until one afternoon, as spring teased the air with warmth, I received a single text from an unknown number. Come outside. My pulse spiked. I opened the door. Sienna stood there. Not smiling. Not crying. Just waiting. I didn't come here for promises, she said. I came to see if you'd still look at me like I'm not her. I stepped onto the porch, heart thudding. You were never her, I said. I don't want to be, she whispered. We stood there. No timeline, no script. Just the raw space between wreckage and rebirth. She leaned in. I met her halfway. And in that kiss, I felt something strange. Not lust. Not guilt. But hope. Hope that maybe love isn't always about who you started with. Maybe it's about who stays when all the dust finally settles.